Are you ready?
I know she ready.
Kiki, are you ready? Bayou Diva, let them know that you're ready.
It's Thursday night, they at it again. You got it locked into the ladies then. It's Lady K, Kiki too, plus the Bayou Diva. You know how they do. From breaking news to favorite foods. She was popping in the city, hot topics too. Advice for your issues if you need to grab a tissue. Just wait till a break, they may say something that'll fit you. Amazing guests live on set. You can laugh to your heart's content. They appreciate the love cause it's truly a blessing. My name's Saga Boss and I approve this message.
Ain't no room for hating. Enjoy the entertainment. You are locked in to the ladies' den. So there's no confusion. They love what they're doing. You are locked in to the ladies' den.
The Ladies Den, Thursday nights, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tell them Saga sent you.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, Den Dweller? It's your girl,
Okay,
Lady
so
K.
you know I don't know what I'm doing right. So I have to send this link to our guest. So let me try. Let me try.
Okay, go ahead. You go ahead. It's your girl, Lady K. Got the Bayou Diva in here, and Kiki is on her way. We got a nice show for y'all today. But first, before we get started, we're going to take a half of a second moment of silence for the passing of O.J. Simpson.
Of who?
All right. And there it is. O.J. Simpson today.
Oh, yeah, we saw that. Poor baby.
And so we did a half a second of moment of silence for O.J. Simpson.
Well, I'm a little stuck because we didn't do a moment of silence for Louis.
We should.
Why we didn't do one for him?
I was still at work. I ain't do. You had.
I would have rather do it for him than OJ.
Well, why you ain't do it then?
Like what? OJ?
I wasn't there. Why you ain't do it then? Huh?
You know what? It's okay. That moment of silence was for any and everybody that we've lost in 2024. Let's do it that way. How about that? Okay. Y'all know I'm still trying to y'all know I don't know what I'm doing. I'll be trying. Okay, here we go.
Do you need me to send it?
Can you send Kendra the link? Kendra will be on at 8. She's coming in at 8. I sent Linda the link, but can you send Kendra?
Yeah, I'll send it. I'm sending it now. So while I'm doing this, I'm multitasking. So today, in honor of its Poetry Month, we're gonna have a spoken word artist, and then it's Autism Awareness Month. And so we're going to be speaking with 2 moms who have kiddos that are autistic. One of them is actually going to be our spoken word artist, and then the other young lady is one of the 3 queens who has been on here before. Miss Kendra Nicole.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be chit-chatting about everything that has to do with, the life of the world of autism, because it's a different thing. It's a whole different world. Because I'm sure as a mom, especially if you have more than one child and one is autistic and the other isn't, then you really have to figure out, your new routine, what is for the household, for the entire household, to make sure that everybody is good and everybody can communicate clearly. Because I know just really chatting with at least a couple of moms that I know that have children with autism, it's different. And then we have, like I was telling you, we know someone who is autistic, And we actually told his story through TLB Productions, The Boy with No Voice. And he tells his story. He didn't really start talking until he was like, I want to say like 10 or 11 years old or something like that. Like it was, he was nonverbal. But now he's an award-winning music producer. So it's like, it's different with everybody. So I just sent Kendra the link.
Okay. And I just, as a nurse, I am not familiar with a lot about autism. Oh wait, let me turn this down. With a lot of things about autism, because if you guys tune into our show and talk with us, you would know that my background is OBGYN. So if something wrong with your coochie, I can tell you about it. If you're having a baby, I can tell you about it. But anything else I learn as I go along. My last few years of working has been with primary care, but I've never had to touch or work with autistic kids or come across autistic kids in my career. So I'm learning just like everybody else. Let me see if Linda got I sent her. We send them the link that we copied from the page, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I sent that to her. So she's not coming in until 7:30.
Not from not from the Facebook page. You're talking about from this page, StreamYard?
That's where you send it?
Yeah. Down below it says invite.
Oh no, well you're gonna have to send it to me and I'm gonna send it to her because I sent the link from Facebook.
Oh no, not that.
Okay, well hold on. Let me tell her. Y'all look, I am not technical. Let me see. Hold on, wrong link. Let me send you a new
one. Okay, let me find I'm surprised your page didn't just pop up in my chat. Okay. 411 link.
Girl, I don't know y'all know I don't know. And y'all, my viewers, our den dwellers, y'all know I don't know what I'm doing. I say it every week.
Oh my God. I
do not know what the hell I'm doing, okay?
You need to learn, Diva.
Nope, that's why we got you. That's why we got you. That's why you need to be in every time.
I cannot.
Okay, now this is the link. Now that's the link. Okay.
Yes.
That's
the link.
So tonight, y'all, again, like Nisa K said, Lady K said, tonight we're going to be talking with parents who live and have raised autistic kids.
Yes.
If you do not know, my hair.
It looks fine, girl. It looks fine.
So what we're going to talk about, this is autism awareness. Well, I don't know. I need to look up the difference and I'll do that while we're on here because for April, it says it's Autism Acceptance Month.
Oh.
So I don't know if that's the difference between autism awareness and autism acceptance. So I am going to look and see if there's another month or another time for autism awareness. But this is, and I need to change that on my thing, but this is Autism Acceptance Month. So this week and next week, we will be talking to, so this week we're talking to parents who have autistic kids.
Right.
And next week, we'll be talking to adults living with autism.
Okay.
So, and each week, we're going to have, this is also Poetry Month. So we will have a spoken word person this week and next week. And one of our spoken word guests is actually a mother who has an autistic child. Right. So we're going to talk about that as well. This should be very interesting. The The guest will be on. One of the guests will be on at 7:30. And Miss Kendra of the Three Queens, we absolutely love this lady. We love this lady. She will be on at 8:00. So, first and foremost, let's talk about what we do when we open the show. Every week we look, I done got tongue-tied.
Because you need some libations, girl. You need some libations.
I know I need to go get something and put it in tea. But we have what I say? We have what we do with the drink?
We have a featured drink.
Featured. Girl, listen. Thank you, Jesus. We feature. I couldn't thank y'all. I think the old age setting in. But every week we feature a different beverage. Alcohol. We have sponsors. And if you would like to be a sponsor, so we can talk about your drink and get people to try it, tell them where they can buy it, where they can order it. We do that. So every week we feature a different beverage. It can be water, tea, sodas, whatever is out there. And we drink it, we taste it, we talk about it back and forth. And we send people out to try it if we like it. And just know this, if we don't like it, we're going to tell you we don't like it, okay? And, there's been a time that Nisa liked a wine and I didn't like it. But everybody has different tastes. But so tonight, y'all, I'm about to go get me some vodka and put in this tea. But right now, I'm just drinking a Gold Peak tea. Gold Peak iced tea. But I'm about to go get some of this Jason Momoa vodka that my neighbor so lovely gave me a bottle last week. Mm-hmm. I'm about to drop a little bit of that in here, and we're going to get this show going. And my girl, Lisa K, what you drinking on, boo?
I just got some good old regular Modelo Especial. Cerveza Modelo Especial.
Beer, and I don't like beer, y'all. I don't like beer. I do not like beer. I think it tastes like Alka-Seltzer. I really do.
Maybe it does. I like a good Alka-Seltzer. That's why I like all the hard seltzers. I like them all.
Yeah,
Truly,
you do drink those.
White Claw, all of them. But I was drinking beer before the hard seltzers hit the market. So
you sent me something. Okay, let me share this to what phone I need to share this to, so I can open this. Well, I can leave it on here. But
no, I can share it. I can share it in here. But I just wanted to put it in our chat.
I want to look through it. But we got 15 minutes before our person comes on. Nisa, can you show that video I sent you about the college girl?
Oh my God.
Talking about Beyonce, because I want to talk about that really, really quickly. We definitely need to talk about that. That was, we need to talk about that real quick.
Ooh, that made me mad. And then I actually just shared it on my page too.
On your page? Hold on. Yeah, I mean, these people, they with this racism, they are speaking loud. And it has gotten so they don't even care anymore. They just don't care about what they say. It's like, what did you just say? What? Like, they don't care. And like, you guys will hear the commentator saying that she reported it to the college, to the dean, and to somebody else. The latest in 2023. She reported it. So what she's trying to do is get her kicked out of school, which I think she most definitely should be, for this comment. And then she's like, well, I didn't mean it. Like, well, how the hell you meant it?
No, that's how you meant it, boo, because how else would you say? It's 2024.
Right.
You can't feign ignorance at this point in time. We have had way too many issues with racism what
Hang
it
on, let me run it.
is.
While you play that, I'm gonna run and get my libation for my drink.
Okay. So everyone, this is, I want to make sure it's shown. Okay, there it is. So this foolishness is what's going on. And this young lady is a college student. So it's not like she doesn't know what the heck she's saying. So I'm pushing play, and you guys take a listen and then give us your thoughts. Either come on video or hit us in the comments and give us your thoughts. Let's have this conversation in the den. Here we go.
But if you're Black, you're not country. I don't care. Like, and I wish I meant that in the nicest way. But like, babe, I know you were raised in the country, or your grandparents were, I guess, your great granny and grandpas, but they was picking, okay? They wasn't planting. Just keep that in mind. They wasn't making money. They was getting sold for money. You ain't country. Boots and a motherfucking jeans and a cutoff to a frat party. Huh? No.
This girl's name is Asa Blanton. She's a student of Indiana State University, and she's a nursing major. This video leaked this past weekend just after Beyonce dropped Cowboy Carter Act 2 of Renaissance. As you can see, she thought this video was going to stay in the draft, but I guess she's bold, so let's release it out to the public. Our school has been notified, and yes, I realize that this is a process, but let's speed up the process. I'm bringing this video to TikTok to apply some pressure on my school and bring attention to the student. Discriminatory events such as these are kept in the dark and don't often provide justice for the students affected. As a community, we need to come together and hold people accountable for their actions, no matter who they are. It's about respect and equality for Black students. We can't let discrimination go unchecked. Most people think there will be no consequences. Most people think, oh, she's white, she's going to get a slap on the wrist. With the people's support, we can stop this from happening. This is why they want to delete TikTok, because we rally together to make the world a better place. She said what she said boldly, so let me say what I have to say boldly. I'm calling on you to join me in spreading the word and putting pressure on Indiana State University to address this issue. I've attached contact information for key officials at the university. Let's make our voices heard. Let's flood their inboxes, blow up their phones, and demand justice for the Black students at ISU and for everyone who has been affected by discrimination.
Let's stop this from happening again.
I'm sorry, but if you're Black, you're not country. I don't care. Like, and I wish I meant that in the nicest way. But like, babe, I know you were raised in the country, or your grandparents were, I guess, your great granny and grandpas, but they was picking, okay? They wasn't planting. Just keep that in mind. They wasn't making money. They was getting sold for money. You ain't country. Boots and a motherfucking jeans and a cutoff to a frat party. Huh? No.
This girl's name is Asa Blanton. She's a student of Indiana State University, and she's a nursing major. This video leaked this past weekend just after Beyonce dropped Cowboy Carter Act 2 of Renaissance. As you can see, she thought this video was going to stay in the draft, but I guess she's bold, so let's release it out to the public. Our school has been notified, and yes, I realize that this is a process, but let's speed up the process. I'm bringing this video to TikTok to apply some pressure on my school and bring attention to the student. Discriminatory events such as these are kept in the dark and don't often provide justice for the students affected. As a community, we need to come together and hold people accountable for their actions, no matter who they are. It's about respect and equality for Black students. We can't let discrimination go unchecked. Most people think there will be no consequences. Most people think, oh, she's white, she's going to get a slap on the wrist. With the people's support, we can stop this from happening. This is why they want to delete TikTok, because we rally together to make the world a better place. She said what she said boldly, so let me say what I have to say boldly. I'm calling on you to join me in spreading the word and putting pressure on Indiana State University to address this issue. I've attached contact information for key officials at the university. Let's make our voices heard. Let's flood their inboxes, blow up their phones, and demand justice for the Black students at ISU and for everyone who has been affected by discrimination.
Let's stop this from happening again.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I can't listen to us.
Yeah, you can stop it. We'll probably play it again later. But for me, that is just like She was bold about it. Like
Very bold.
she really didn't even care what
Mm-mm.
she was saying. And she didn't even realize, like, girl. And see, I think a lot of, excuse me, I think a lot of times people don't understand that once you put something out on the internet, you can take it down, but you have to understand from the moment you put it out and it hits somebody's page, something like this has already been shared. So
Yep.
you can take it down all you want, but it's already
Yep.
been shared. And
Yep.
my thing is, she's loud about it.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Loud and wrong.
speaking out about it, like,
Mm-hmm.
and she's just talking like, girl, your grandparents, they weren't that, they were picking. So you're saying that, oh, whatever your grandparents are now, but then they were picking cotton, they were in the fields. This is what you're saying to me, Beyonce.
Mm-hmm. She said they
But
wasn't
I
making money, they
know,
were being sold as money.
right, right. And my thing is, I know Beyonce is not going to answer this because if she had the right publicist and the right manager, they would tell her to totally ignore this.
Just
And
ignore it.
I know that's what's going to happen. But that's why she have people like that girl that is saying this college needs to be notified of this. And then on top of that, girl, you a nursing student? Oh my God, I can't
Mm,
imagine how you would treat your Black
your
patient.
patience. Yes.
So if
Yes.
this, and when I tell you, I was so busy today, but when I saw this, I am going to reach out to the university myself with this video as well and let them know I am a nurse. If she
Mm-hmm.
is saying this, how is she going to treat me as a coworker when she does graduate school because I'm Black? And how is
Mm-hmm.
she going to handle her Black
The
patients
Black
who
patience.
can't
Yes.
speak for themselves? Some of them probably aren't able to speak up for
Exactly.
themselves. Like, how is
Exactly.
she going to handle those people? Like, she does not need a nursing license. She does
Mm-mm.
not. Not if you're a racist.
Nope.
And you're talking about they wasn't making money. They was being sold for money. Like,
That's what she
who
said.
does that? Who
She
says
did.
stuff like that?
She did.
And then the thing, what got me, she's so bold about it. And she's
Mhm.
talking like, girl, you ought to know this already. That's
Right.
her attitude when she was speaking on it. Like, you don't know this? Like,
But the
girl,
sad
you gotta
part
know.
is she's also showing that she does not know the history of country music.
That,
It started with us. It
amen.
started with us. And it's just another musical genre that started with us. Somebody came along and recorded something or stole a song that was written and took it and did what they did. There have always been Black country and Western music artists. They never went
Right.
away.
So,
They're just not spotlighted anymore.
right. So why would she even say that? Like, girl, Beyonce ain't the only Black person that sings
She don't
country
know.
music.
It's a lot of people because they try to whitewash history and they
Mm-hmm.
never want to tell the part that the African American community has contributed. You got a whole bunch of people walking around here thinking that Black folks have done nothing for this country except be on welfare.
That
That's it.
that part.
That's it. Only
That
thing
part.
they'll say, oh well, Oprah is
Hey,
different and
Tanya.
all the athletes or whatever, those are different, but Black people as a whole, that because she's talking about she says something about frat parties. I wish they wouldn't have bleeped that part out. But
Yeah,
I'm
they
just
did.
thinking, sweetie, you've never been to a HBCU.
She
Obviously.
probably haven't. And
She ain't never been around Black
Tanya, we're
people like
talking,
that.
well, a little later we're going to be talking about autism. But right now we're talking about this video that's surfing through the internet about this white girl talking about Beyonce's country song and saying and letting her know that she don't belong in country music. And I shared it on
Yeah.
my page earlier. but she was telling her that she doesn't belong in country music, and she knows she came from the country, and her granny, they weren't, what she say, they weren't picking, I mean, they weren't selling nothing. They were
They weren't
picking.
planting.
They were picking, like she was
They
saying,
weren't
they were picking
planting.
cotton, and you
Yeah.
know, they weren't buying things. They were being sold. So basically, just telling her, bitch, you a slave, and your grandparents was a slave, your mom is a slave, and you ain't got no business singing country music. So the video is really going viral, and there was a young lady who goes to the college who saw the video, have reported her to the dean and all these other people. But we're just talking about this until our guests come on to talk about autism. But I wanted to talk about it because she was loud about it. She was very boisterous about it. She was loud about it, and it's almost like
loud and wrong.
Wait, hold up.
Loud
Okay,
and
right
wrong.
there.
Okay. And the funniest thing to me is I still, of course, on social media, I try my best not to get into any arguments with anybody, but I like a good conversation. But it is still funny to me in 2024 how you have people who are not African American or just not brown skin. They don't even have to be African American. This is all about melanated people. It's stuff that we deal with just on a regular basis that unless you are brown skin, you wouldn't know what it is. You wouldn't know how it feels. You wouldn't know how to deal with it. I still run into people online right now. First thing out their mouth is, well, my boyfriend is black. My this is black. One, I don't even know if it was a woman or a man, told me, well, my son is black, so I know all about it. I was like, just because you have a black son, then you will never ever know what it is to be a black man, to be a black person, period, in America. Because we were talking about, I don't even know, y'all. I don't even know. But it's like still in 2024, you got people that are still as blatant with racist thoughts as this young lady was. What time is it? We can play the video one more time. We can play the video one more time so y'all can see what y'all can really see what we're talking about. So I'm gonna play it. Oh no, not that. I'm gonna play it one more time. And then one of our special guests has just popped into the lobby. So we're gonna pull her
through. Y'all. I'm still vegan, she's still limited, so I had to go and run and fix mama something to eat.
Okay. I was gonna share the video one more time, and then Miss Linda is here.
Okay, so Miss Linda, we're gonna bring you in just one moment. After this video. Hey.
Okay, here we go, y'all.
So y'all check this video out and give us your thoughts on it.
I don't care. Like, and I wish I meant that in the nicest way. But like, babe, I know you were raised in the country, or your grandparents were, I guess, your great granny and grandpas, but they was picking, okay? They wasn't planting. Just keep that in mind. They wasn't making money. They was getting sold for money. You ain't country. Boots and a motherfucking jeans and a cutoff to a frat party.
I know what she said right there.
Huh? No.
This girl's name is Asa Blanton. She's a student of Indiana State University and she's a nursing major. This video leaked this past weekend just after Beyonce dropped Cowboy Carter Act 2 of Renaissance. As you can see, she thought this video was going to stay in a job, but I guess she's bored, so let's release it out to the public. Our school has been notified, and yes, I realize that this is a process, but let's speed up the process. I'm bringing this video to TikTok to apply some pressure on my school and bring attention to the student. Discriminatory events such as these are kept in the dark and don't often provide justice for the students affected. As a community, we need to come together and hold people accountable for their actions, no matter who they are. It's about respect and equality for Black students. We can't let discrimination go unchecked. Most people think there will be no consequences. Most people think, oh, she's white.
Oh,
She's
they
gonna get
have
slapped on the
it.
wrist. With the people support, we can stop this from happening. This is why
Ooh,
they want
it's
to delete
everywhere.
TikTok, because we rally together to make the world a better place. She said what she said boldly, so let me say what I have to say boldly. I'm calling on you to join me in spreading the word and putting pressure on Indiana State University to address this issue. I've attached contact information for key officials at the university. Let's make our voices heard. Let's flood their inboxes, blow up their phones, and demand justice for the Black students at ISU and for everyone who has been affected by discrimination.
Let's stop this from happening again.
Yeah, let me see if they're showing the whole video, because I just shared that video this morning, but when I tell you, let me show you just how bad it is. Like, it's all over the internet.
As it should
University
be.
student. I mean, it's
As it should
all
be.
over the internet. Yeah. But I'm still gonna see if I can find the full video. Hopefully I can find it by the end of the night. But this video, y'all, this woman is addressing Beyonce because she's doing country music, and she's talking about her grandparents weren't planting, they were picking, and they weren't buying anything, they were being sold. So she is boldly talking about racism. And this is a nursing student. This is a nursing
student. Me with
student.
that. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah, yeah, the university definitely needs to keep that in mind, because one, okay. Oh, like I'm shaking my head, but that's Kendra leaving me a message. I'm like, okay, baby. So the thing is, if you're feeling that way, then me as a nurse, how are you gonna work with me side by side, work with a Black woman? And then on top of that, how are you going to treat your Black patients?
Yes.
If you're angry because a Black woman is singing a country song, how are you going to treat your Black patients? For me, she needs to be kicked out of nursing school and not able to get a nursing license, because you already letting us know how you feel about Black people and how you're going to handle Black people. Because that video not only says you're a racist, it also says that you feel like all Black people are beneath you and we still need to be out in the field. But I got news for you, chick. It ain't, we taking over. We are taking over. Y'all want to be like us. That's why y'all sun tanning to get our skin punched. That's why y'all on the beach getting burnt up, because you want to look like us.
Right.
So yeah, she definitely does not need a license. She don't need to be working with nobody Black.
Does not.
She don't need to be around nobody that's Black, because she don't like Black people. And she did all but say that. And then on top of that, her ignorance about country music and her ignorance about color, it speaks for itself. But anyway, we'll address that at the end of the show, because we'll probably talk about that again. But what I want to do is I want to welcome our first special guest tonight, Miss Linda Brown, to the Ladies Den. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello.
How are you? All right. I told her, have a glass of wine. What you drinking on?
Right now. Okay.
I have my longevity wine. It's from
You better come on.
Longevity. Okay.
1 to 2 glasses a day, and they are told to have lived into their 90s and 100s. So I am my longevity.
Well, baby, I need that wine. What's the name of that wine?
It is. May I show the bottle?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. It is.
Yeah, we show everything.
Carnanown, from Sardinia. I can't. The label may not show up. But if you go,
you gotta push it closer to the camera. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, Canano. Okay.
It's from Sardinia.
Okay.
All right. Oh, you're drinking expensive wine, baby. Expensive wine.
Yeah.
Love it.
The lighting right.
So let me, Miss Linda sent me 5-page bio. So
get to reading.
So I'm gonna just read a little bit.
Yeah.
She is a native Baltimorean from Baltimore. And she currently resides in Hiram, Georgia. She's an advocate, writer, mompreneur. She is the mother of 4 children, 4 adult sons, and 1 teen young lady. 3 children were adopted from Baltimore City's foster care system. They came into her home as babies, all drug exposed, 1 to alcohol and tobacco in addition to drugs. Her house is a forever home for her with special needs children. 2 rehomed dogs and 3 rehomed cats and about 28 chickens. Girl, I'm coming. Give me a chicken. An advocate at heart, diversity, volunteerism, and community are important to Ms. Brown. Her numerous contributions extend decades in the communities and with various prayer groups across the United States. Ms. Brown is the former first elected president for the Baltimore City Resource Parent Council and has served on various boards in advocacy, legislation, and community grassroots organization. We're gonna talk to you about that. Let you talk about that too. At the age of 14, she began volunteering at the Bureau of Recreation in West Baltimore. From there, she continued her journey, developing her interpersonal skills from a shy little girl into a mature woman of God who takes her role as a Christian serious. She is passionate about feeding God's sheep, his orphaned, widowed, and needy. His orphaned, widowed, and needy. From problem solving, planning, and implementing recreational programs, operating her church home kitchen, to feeding the homeless out the back of her car, Ms. Brown is no stranger when it comes to community outreach. Ms. Brown holds an AAS in fashion design from the Fashion Institute of Technology, NYC, and a BA in art history from Hollis University in Roanoke, Virginia. An entrepreneur and published writer, Ms. Brown currently projects include 4 books, 1 on racism, go figure, 1 on subliminal grooming of children, a children's picture book, and diversity and anthology of ancestral oral stories. Her greatest love to expose the pit and divide formula which keeps racism alive. Fear is wedged between the races and no one wins. Ms. Brown's philosophy is we stand on one accord as one.
Thank you.
Ooh, that's a tight resume.
My goodness.
That's a tight resume. Wow. Awesome. Tell us about the Baltimore Resource Parent Council. Like, what did you do there?
Well, I upset the apple cart because they had someone pegged out to be the first president for the Baltimore City Foster Parent in Baltimore City. Baltimore City has the largest resource parents foster care, and they had slated this guy to win, and I upset their apple cart, and they got me for about 2 years. We worked together as a team. The people we had voted in people into position, and so we worked very hard to form a 10 region support system. You can't believe the number of grandparents who are becoming caregivers. Okay, and caregivers in the system don't have help. So we developed the support system, and we had people in charge of each region so that they would always have someone to contact, and then they would come to us, collectively. So I served in that position for about 2 years.
Oh wow, that is awesome. Okay. I don't even know where to start. You got so much on here to talk about before we get into the autism program. But so tell us about the point where you feed the homeless and you do things like that. So what what area are you a part of that does that? Or I know you did some of it on your own, but
I did. And unfortunately, we as a people in our community, we lack the skills to work together and stick together. Okay. I was running the soup kitchen at a church, the church that I grew up in, and they sabotaged the double steel stained industrial refrigerator because I would feed people. And I never forget, it happened on Martin Luther King Day, a Sunday. The weather was bad. I went in there. I'm not a small lady. And when they found out that I was going to manage the kitchen, they set up their sabotage with this long orange cord out the kitchen over into the sanctuary. And I worked around that. Never once had I pulled it out. Well, after my giving away of chickens on that Martin Luther King Day, they sabotaged my supplies. I had Panero bread I would give out on Thursdays and have feeding. So from there, I tried with the olive branch. It didn't work out. So that pushed me out on the street in the car. And my boys were small. The boys that I adopted, they were small. And I didn't have my little baby girl, the 15-year-old. So I put them in the car, and there was a young lady that became friends with me, and we would hit the streets. I'd cook food, and we hit the streets. I'd go down to the homeless shelter, and I'd feed. I'd pop open the trunk and feed them.
Okay.
And it brought me joy.
Wow. Listen, let me tell you something. God's plan is always bigger than somebody else. Yeah. So when they think they're stopping you or trying to hurt you, God's plan is always there to keep you going, especially when you're doing something from Him. Mm-hmm. Meaning you doing it in the sight of God, so it's right and it's done the right way. He'll make sure that you have a way to do whatever it is that you're doing. So I mean that is awesome for you. But after this, we're gonna have to chit chat about some things.
Sure.
But tonight we are talking about autism. Mm-hmm. And I know that you are raising a son with autism. But first, let me just tell people, and I'm looking it up, I'm reading exactly what autism is. A lot of people don't know what it is. And again, like I said, my nursing degree I've never dealt with autistic people. I don't really know much about autism. Again, everybody knows my background is OBGYN. So babies and coochies, I can tell you about, okay? But all the other stuff, I have to learn as I go along. So just for people who don't know, autism is a serious developmental disorder that impacts the ability to communicate and interact with other people. Mm-hmm. They have, it says autism spectrum disorder impacts the nervous system. Mm-hmm. All right. It says the range of severity of symptoms can vary widely. Common symptoms include difficulty with communication, difficulty with social interaction, obsessive interest, and repetitive behavior. Early recognition, as well as behavioral education and family therapies, may reduce symptoms and support development and learning. So my question to you is, was it something you recognized, or was it something that someone else recognized? Or how did you know your child was autistic?
I didn't. And he came to me at a month old in my home. And I adopted him when he was 2. At the age of 2, he was exhibiting behaviors that were just over the top. And
can you tell us about some of those behaviors?
As sometimes he would have tantrums and just sit on the floor and just cry. Okay, now I will tell you that my son is high functioning. He is in the low functioning nonverbal. He's high functioning. But we have behavior issues. Okay. He would just, I had him in daycare. He would just crawl all over the place. He was super active, and just the behaviors, he would have tantrums, and I didn't know what. I'm blessed because all 3 of my kids, I had the opportunity. I I immediately plugged into the resources for physical therapy, speech therapy, and occupational therapy. So when we moved to Georgia, oh God, when you talk about God's hand on you, when we moved to Georgia, he was about 3 or so. He was kindergarten age, and I had just put him in the school, and I got a phone call after dropping my daughter off the daycare that I needed to come to the school. He had gotten out of, let me tell you, he's very fast. He's fast. It took a gazillion people to catch him. He had gotten out of the school, ran across the street, and nearly got hit fatally. When I went up to the school and went in the office, he was enraged. It just, so if people never don't have their prayer language, Linda went into her prayer language because I had to do some work, spiritual work. And the Lord just said, just pick him up and hold him. And he was fighting, and I mean, just, and when he calmed down, the Lord said, let him go, let him down. When I finished, I felt like I had wrestled a bear. Okay. Okay. Now he's just maybe 5 years of age, right? There are times when I had to go up to the school, and another time he's been in and out of brick and mortar school to virtual school. So when he did that stunt, they put him in place New Hope that was strategically for kids with issues like his, a safe room, a place where he could quiet down. Okay. It was set up for children like him. So now, mind you, this was just kindergarten. So when he transitioned back out of there into another school, we had another situation. When I went up to the school, the teachers had barricaded the door in the gym. They took his glasses and his shoes. And when they opened the door, they said, Miss Brown, do you want us? I said, no, don't touch him. Because see, this isn't just physical work. You have to have a discernment and spiritual work to go with this. I said, don't touch him. So I got him and put him in the car, and my daughter was little and she was in the car. I had to shift her around. I got him in the car and he was enraged. He had pinned my hand to the back of the car seat, the passenger side. I could not get my hand off his foot was holding. So I had to drive like that home. Okay. And it's just so many incidents. I had a friend that had called me. He helped talk him down. It is, you're dealing with behavior issues. Okay. And it's just not the autism, but he had, his IEP was behavior and emotional. Okay. And this is what I have had to deal with for most of his life. He's 19 now. Okay. It's rough.
Wow. Is it again, because I don't really know much about autism. So is it something that triggers them to, start acting? Because he got to school without a problem, obviously. But once he got to school, then he's having these meltdowns. Now, were he having them at home like that too?
He would have them at home. I have a video of him when we moved down here, sitting in the floor, just screaming his head off, crying. Okay. It does affect the nervous system and the brain. It's something that's not connecting. And his social skills, he doesn't really have social skills. They stay to themselves. Okay. But that doesn't mean that he's not smart.
Right. Oh, they are. Most of the time, they are very smart.
He is very smart. He has some learning disabilities. He can hold a conversation with you. I thank God he doesn't look like what the paperwork says, but I can't tell you the number of times one of my friends taught me about the bear hug, she used to work with kids, putting the children in the floor in a bear hug. I can't tell you how many times I've had to put this boy in the floor. Okay. Even as a teen, I've had to pray and deal with what he was going through to get him to calm down.
So there, I guess I'm trying to understand. I want to understand autism. I don't have anybody that I know of in my family that has it, or I've had to deal with it. So I really want to understand it. So for me, what I'm hearing is it's not a certain thing that triggers it. It's just they can just start doing whatever. So it's for me as a nurse in my mind, I'm thinking at that moment, that chemical imbalance is causing them to go out into these rages or to these actions. So has there ever been a time when they bring him to the hospital, but when he has these, has there ever been a time that they tested, like did an MRI or did a nerve exam to figure out if the chemical imbalance between the brain and the nerves, are they working together or are they working against each other?
The thing about that, when you put them in school with an IEP, they do not recognize the language autism. They'll label it ADHD.
ADHD.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I've had 3 neuropsychs done for him. In 2020 was when the same doctor, she suspected some things, but it was then in 2020, after the last outburst in school, just before COVID, that they did and finalized and said he was on the high end spectrum of autism. Okay. The behavior, emotional stuff goes along with it. The ADHD, he doesn't sleep. He is nocturnal. I'm just getting some relief with some things I'm just doing. He can't shut his mind off.
Yeah. My son is like that, but yeah.
He is fixated on certain things. Okay. We've grown a little bit from that, but it is, as much as it is a physical medical thing, it is also a spiritual thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I can see that.
Hold of that. But I have been through, I would say maybe it's been about 2-3 years. Things have kind of calmed down somewhat, but still I have to deal with his mental state, what he's thinking about, trying to get him outside to socialize with the kids is an issue. It's been a battle. The brain, it is the nervous, deals with the nerves and the brain. There's a misconnect. There's no balance in being able to soothe them and to, it's been rough. It's been rough. So I'm thankful in the way that he is verbal. Okay. And it's Asperger's syndrome. They consider it Asperger's syndrome. But I have a niece who has a son. He's an adult. He is not verbal. Okay. He's gotten better. She's done a lot of things to get him to where he is right now, but he was not verbal. He is verbal a little bit now. But it definitely connects with the brain, the mind not connecting, the nervous system, and the things that I'm trying now. I didn't realize that we had an endocrinology system. I know I'm pronouncing
endocrinology. You said it right the first time.
Endocannabinoid system. I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't realize that. And that there's a CB1 and a CB2 receptors. And when I look at the things that I'm trying now, these things are responding to those receptors. Those deal with nerves and brain, the whole system. And so this basically, and I was reading that kids with the low autism, they have a lower response to those receptors.
Okay.
Yes.
Definitely nerve, is definitely brain. It's they're not connecting. It's like a car that would misfire. But I do think there are some people, and I tend to believe it, vaccines Okay. Vaccines are being looked at. Okay. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, I mean, you don't have, first of all, let me just say this. Our podcast is uncut and uncensored.
Okay.
You can say what you want.
Okay.
But it has been talks about that when the COVID vaccine came out. It was talks about the vaccines and how they think that the vaccines that we took as kids are now affecting us as adults and now are affecting kids that are taking them now. So they've been talking about it. So you can talk about it. It's no secret. It's out there. It's been put out there that they're investigating to see if these vaccines are causing autism or are causing what it's called. Oh, I'm gonna think about it. But it's two things that they were talking about: autism and it's something else. Something else, Lorela. I'm gonna think about it.
Okay.
But I want to read this real quickly about the Asperger's syndrome, which is a part of autism. So it says Asperger's syndrome is a term sometimes used to describe a developmental disorder that's part of the autism spectrum disorder. It says people who have this type of ASD tend to have a hard time relating to others socially. They usually stick to a very specific routine, have a narrow set of interests, and act in repetitive ways, such as flapping their hands. Does he do that?
No, he doesn't do that. I'm thankful that he doesn't do that, but he is fixated. He fixates it's I'm constantly talking to him at 19. I'm like, he wants to be an adventurer. I'm like, you need a job. Adventures, that's normal kid stuff. But to the degree that he has the fixation about this is his mind not resting. He has a good heart, but it's like, I'm like, you can't do that. It's almost like he wants to have like a vigilante kind of thing. I'm like, you can't do that. Okay. This is adventure. He's adventure. He's seeking adventure. And I'm like, you have to have a job to do other things. You can't just go out here. It became at one point he was fixating on survival stuff. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay? And he's doing things. And I'm like, oh boy. So they do get fixated on things. Okay. And it is trying to make him understand you need to do other things besides this. Just is very difficult in working with him. It's his there's anger issues that comes with the impulsiveness disorder. He gravitates towards certain people, and I have to watch who he's gravitating to, like-minded people, which isn't good. Okay. Trying to diversify his social skills. He's shut down. He spends most of his time in his room. He comes out, he'll eat. Okay. We've gotten picky with the eating. Sometimes they are picky with eating. Okay. They want a certain thing. That's all they want. His thing is macaroni and cheese.
My favorite.
I can eat it every day. Macaroni and cheese. I'm like, you cannot eat up all the macaroni and cheese in the house. Okay. He's impulsive. Okay. We just had this conversation. I'm putting him in the an agency that helped his brother. It's like, okay, he wants to cook. It's an impulsiveness. He jumps without thinking. And sometimes that has an effect in the family, So I'm constantly watching him. It's hard. He's 19. He wants to be independent. But at the same time, I want to make sure that he's safe and he's doing things safely. It's an impulsiveness. And I just believe that has to all tie in with the nervous system and his brain and coordinating those things and bringing him to a point where he's able to function and learning how to cut. He doesn't sleep at night. So we've been through melatonin. The melatonin doesn't work anymore.
Oh, okay?
Wow. And he's had maximum dose. We have a good doctor, which is good. We have tried certain medication. It takes him to the edge and the dark side. We're not doing it. So I found something that I am using. I think it's working. It's natural. Okay. But it is very challenging. I mean, I've had to deal with him running away, not running away, but we had another incident. I could have lost my son. Okay.
Wow.
So it's, then coupled with, when you adopt these children, you don't know what their family history is. I do with my children. And so to mix the autism in there with the fact that his mom was bipolar.
Yeah.
Okay.
And listen, let me you can go back to talking, but let me say this real quick, because I just looked up like what causes autism in children. And this is what it says. The cause of ASD is not known.
Right.
Scientists believe it is caused by both genetic and environmental factors. And they do have, after that, vaccines do not cause autism, but that's yet to be determined. I know that.
Of course they're going to say that.
And it says environmental factors that have been claimed to contribute to autism or exacerbate its symptoms, or that may be important to consider in future research. Then they say scientists have found rare gene changes or mutations, as well as small common genetic variations in people with autism, implying a genetic component. So definitely with his birth mom being bipolar, that could definitely contribute to the autism. Genetically, and we do a lot of shows because I'm medical. We do a lot of shows about medical stuff, and we just did our show last week, and we talked about the significance and the importance of knowing your family history when it comes to medical.
Yes.
Because when you start having, I was just lucky to know at age 16 and 17, because I've always wanted to be a nurse. I just was always asking, what's wrong with you? Why you do? I knew what was going on, and I knew what my mom had. I knew what my dad had. I knew my grandmother. I knew all these things at 16 and 17 years old, which is normally you don't know that then. Especially us Black people, we try to keep history away from family. One, we don't want nobody feeling sorry for us because we don't want nobody being pitied. And then two, we have this thing, I'm not going to say our generation, but my mom and her generation and the ones before her, they just didn't talk about these things with their kids, period. They just didn't. I literally had to pull some stuff out of my mom. I'm like, look, woman, what's going on? So what I did, I started going to the doctor with my mom, and I was reading charts. And I've been in the medical field since high school.
Wow.
So, I know, but we as Black people, white people, Chinese, Mexican, all the races out there, you need to let your kids know what is going on with you, especially if they're younger, like I was, like in my teens, because they need to know, because when they meet their boyfriends that's going to be husbands or whatever, when they start having kids, those family histories make a difference.
Yes, they do.
They make a difference, because she could have a sickle cell trait in her family history, and somebody in his family could have the trait, but if they have a kid, that kid is going to have sickle cell.
Yep.
So it is so important, and for you women out there, and for you men out there, man, it is so important that if you plan on marrying somebody, making somebody your wife or your husband, and you plan on having kids, this is a conversation that needs to be had. Hey, do you know your mom and dad's, medical history? Do you know your mom and dad? What about your grandparents? Do you know? Because these things are going to affect their kids.
That's very true. One of the downfalls that the foster care system has And like when I tell you, I was blessed to have all 3 of my kids' records about their parents.
Good.
Many of the kids, I was going to adopt a young lady, and I went in to meet with the counselor where she was at. I made a decision that I could not bring her into my home. She needed a single parent home, a female single parent home. We're talking about a child that was sexually traumatized at the age of 2. Okay, so here's the downfall with the foster care kids. You have a lot. I'm kind of out of touch, but when I moved from Maryland to Baltimore, I kind of hung up my shingles for knowing what was going on. But at the time that I left, there were 500,000 children that had not been placed in homes. Many of the kids age out. I remember going to a conference, and I'll never forget what this doctor said in the workshop. You have kids in the system who have paperwork probably about 2 and 3 inches stacked, but they could not, the workers can't tell you why they're originally in the system. Okay. And many of those kids have been traumatized from foster home to foster home to foster home, and they don't know what the history of the children are. I remember a worker coming to me, wanted me to take the oldest boy's brother, and I had a bulldog of a worker, caseworker. She said, no, she said, let me check this and I'll let you know. She came back, she said, absolutely not. You're not taking him. She didn't tell me what was going on, but he didn't get adopted until 15. So you have a lot of kids in the system that are probably struggling with many of the things like autism, high or low, or you know, fetal alcohol. Okay, because my oldest son was fetal alcohol. Okay, you have a lot of kids in the system that are not being properly diagnosed. And I say that if a child is drug exposed, or they need to pay the parents what the rates are for children with disabilities. I can almost assure you that many of those kids are autistic. The ones that are acting out, that are verbal, but it's an umbrella. It's just, like I said, it's just not the autism per se, but you've got behavior issues, you've got ADHD issues, you got obsessive compulsive disorders. Okay, behavior, they label it all under behavior, but they don't allow you to specify what the behavior is. And almost they handicap you by not allowing you to do certain things to make sure that these children coming into care are properly attended to. Me, on the other hand, my kids got everything: OT, PT, ST. Okay, so when you adopt these children out of the system and they don't give you any paperwork, you're challenged.
Yeah. Wow. So are you able to get like help with him? Or are you doing all this on your own? Like, how does it work? Because it feels like the system should be able to help you take care of this autistic child when they know the ramifications and the things that happen in dealing with a child with autism.
When I was in Maryland with the oldest child, I had Johns Hopkins for the fetal alcohol clinic. That's another ailment that they don't even recognize. Okay, that's a whole new fetal alcohol. They a lot. It depends on the foster parent. Okay, because some foster parents don't do. Okay, and then you have other foster parents like myself that did everything. In Baltimore, the resources were closer and you could get to them quicker. Down here in Georgia, everything is so spaced out. Okay, there's the Marcus Institute. You would have to drive there for services. There's some services. Okay, there's Willowbrook here. Okay, the residential homes are so far away I had looked at considering something like that, but I'm like, I did not want him 3 hours away because I wouldn't be able to get there. It was important for me to be involved with his treatment.
Right.
So it's different here in Georgia. It's very different. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I ain't a spring chicken. Okay.
Right.
I've been doing this for 21 years. The oldest is 21. Here's the other thing: as single parents, I'm gonna say single female parents with children with disability, our men need to step up to the plate. It's hard to find male mentors for our children. He needs a male mentor. Despite what he has, he needs these children, these male children need male mentors. And I am sending out a plea for our men. I don't care if you're black, white, red, yellow, blue. We need male mentors that pass the security test about whether they're on the straight and narrow, because we don't need people abusing our children. Right. And they need to be consistent. If you're going to do this, don't say, okay, well, I'm going to do this, and then you stop, because my son also is suffering from the many meals that I have asked for in his treatment plan, in-home treatment. There are some in-home treatments that you can get for your children with disability, but because Georgia is so big, you would have to travel so far to get help.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating.
I can imagine it is. But I do know some fellas that are trying to get something like that together. So I will reach out to them and see where they are with their process and what they're doing. Exactly. But yeah, we do need more men mentors. We definitely need that. Women, we have all the resources in the world. We have friends and we have girlfriends that we can lean on, and we have girlfriends that are life coaches and that are psychologists and psychiatrists, and we have that outlet. But you don't really hear of men with that outlet. Just like I did a mental health retreat last year, the latter part of last year, and I've actually had one of the brothers, one of my friend's husbands, to reach out to me to help him get a mental health retreat together for the men, because men, they don't do things like that for men, and they need it just as well as we do. They go through issues. They suffer with mental stuff that they're dealing with, life issues, period. Just life is life and on everybody. So we can't leave them out. So I'm in the process of helping him put together a male mental health retreat, as well as myself. I am doing one as well. I was going to do a large one in May, but I'm going to cancel it, and I'm going to do something a little smaller like I did the first one. So, but I will definitely talk with those guys and see, where they are as far as like the mentoring part of what they want to do. And then I will definitely let you know. But I'm glad you gave me some insight on autism, because like I said, I'm not very knowledgeable about it. I only know what I read. I've never had to deal with it. And the closest thing to autism that I've had to deal with is Alzheimer. Like, I literally worked on an Alzheimer unit, and from what I've heard about autism and what I've seen, when they get to the Alzheimer stage, they react just like that. They're repetitive. You can't change anything. They have to do the same thing so they can remember, because all of this is a memory thing. It's a brain thing. It's the nerves and the memory. So I'm glad that I got an insight to what it actually is and what parents are dealing with on a daily basis with their autistic kids. So, how do you go out to events and things with him, or do you go out to events with him?
Right. We do. It's not bad. I just one other thing I want to add to the other thing that's affected: food and textures.
Okay.
Which is why they might just like he likes macaroni and cheese. My nephew, my niece's son, he had to have certain things all the time, nothing different. So it also affects their eating. Okay. Because they will only eat the tactile things, the taste buds and things. So I go through that with him. Now, how do I go out? He's a wanderer. Okay. I constantly, it's gotten better, but I have to watch him. Like when I've had some events that are community events and I might be doing something in the event, I couldn't bring him. Okay. Because I couldn't, because it would normally I'd be in the prayer tent praying with people. I wouldn't be focused because I know he's out there and he's doing things which may not always be safe. Okay. He wanders. So I have to, if we go out, if I do something like that, his brother, I tell his brother to keep an eye on him. And his sister, who's 15, her issue, she was drug exposed, but she's mostly ADHD. They are smart kids, okay?
They are.
Just, he wants to walk to the store. And I'm like, he tells me I won't let him scrape his knees, okay? I'm too sheltering. But he tends to roam off to places. One day he ran out the house and he got mad with me for doing, I corrected him on something. At 3 o'clock in the morning, he went out the window, out the roof, through the backwoods, ended up in a house. He said he walked, it was more than 20 miles. And you know how Georgia roads are. No lane. Okay. He walked from where we lived all the way over to Brownsville Road to the subway, calls me at 7 o'clock, tells me to come. I hung up, right? Because I'm like, where are you calling me? Pick the phone. He called back again. It was him. He had walked out of the house, through the woods, almost got shot in the face with a shotgun on somebody's porch.
Property.
Okay. I thank God I didn't rest until I found the house. I found it and I resolved it because this would have been another black child posted, possibly shot dead in the street. So I straightened that out. That was a whole nother story. But anyway, going out I'm constantly having to watch him and make sure he's not getting into something or doing something. And it's not fun all the time, but we do go out. We go out, but it's not without its challenges.
But, and I also want to ask a question. You said that he doesn't sleep at night. So, I mean, like, how do you sleep and how do you protect your home? Not protect your home, but protect him from getting out the house if he's a wanderer at night. Like, what do you do to help yourself in that situation?
We've grown past that because the situation with the almost being shot, I think, cured that, them going out the house like that. But I sleep on the first floor. I would have changed my life dramatically, okay? But I think it capped him thinking about doing that again.
Okay.
I sleep on the first floor. I have to sleep with my door open. Okay. He constantly comes down the steps for water. He gets in he doesn't eat properly. He's been eating like a bird. Okay. That's been a challenge. He's obsessed with, he doesn't feel he's physically strong enough. So he does a lot of exercise. That has to tie in with him, what he's doing. Right. So I don't sleep. Okay. I didn't. Let me take that back. I didn't until I found this product that I tried. Okay. And it's a product with CBD in it. Okay. We have to change the stigma of the CBD. I gave him one capsule. So I said, did you sleep? And he said, no, I don't think so. And his other sibling said, dude, you was out. And he didn't come down the steps. So this is working.
Okay.
Good.
And that's the only way I've been getting some sleep at night.
Wow.
Would you mind sharing what product that was?
The product that I started was
because maybe there's a person out there with an autistic child who's going through the same thing that you're going through, and maybe it could be a product that they could use.
Yeah.
Let's say it's been almost a month,
Mhm.
and it's the microdose. It's the Canaglow product. Let me see if I.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the shocker. Okay, and it's sleep
Okay.
and relaxation.
Yeah,
He has-
I'm about to sign up with them. I'm about to sign up with
it
them.
works. Let me tell you, I'm
Okay.
sleeping, and I know
Wow.
when he needs some more. Because he starts up with that antsy moving around at night.
Right.
And
no, go ahead.
I believe what it's doing is it's reactivating the CB1 and CB2 receptors in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But it is allowing him to sleep at night and to shut, because he'll tell me I can't shut my mind off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's allowing him to sleep, and he is not up and down my steps.
Wow. And see, that makes me think about my son, because they say he's ADHD and bipolar disorder, but he's social. He like his mom. He's social. He'll talk to anybody. He'll talk to anybody. But that sleeping, and he getting this, well, the doctors call it manic mode, where he's up all night because he can't sleep, because he's like, Mom, I'm thinking about this, and Mom, we're gonna do this, and he'll try to when he was a little younger, he's a little different now. But when he was younger, he would come and wake me up at 12 o'clock at night. Mom, look, I've been thinking about this. Can we do this, Mom? And he was like, so I'm wondering if they have misdiagnosed my child. I mean, he's 26 now, but I wouldn't say that he's I probably would not say that he's autistic, but some of the things that your son has displayed, he has done, except for first of all, he ain't gonna catch no tantrum because I'm gonna beat his ass, and I don't care what diagnosis he got.
We won't go there.
You can tantrum all the hell you want. You about to get your ass whipped if you out in this street. So that's one thing. But he didn't do tantrums. It was always the repetitious, and it was always the nighttime. I can't sleep. Mom, I got this on my mind, and running. Like, he would be up till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and he has to go to school. He has to get up at 6:30. And he would get 1 hour sleep, and he'll be up, and he'll just, he has that energy. So again,
it's hard diagnosing that. And here's the other thing, paying into the politics of education.
Mm-hmm.
They label everything ADHD. They don't want to give you that 504 and that IEP plan for your children. Okay. And if you don't have a good advocate to help you get those things, they'll stick your child in and think, it's like one mold. That's it. Everybody's capable of learning this way. But they don't want to recognize the autism spectrum. I have set in enough IEPs. They code it, rather than to code it code it as ADHD.
HD. Yep. They will. And I mean, there is definitely different signs for both. So your average ADHD child or ADD person, they're not having tantrum. It's their focus.
Yeah.
That's really what ADD is, their focus. So if a child is having a tantrum and they can't talk to other kids, or they can't be with other kids, that should automatically let a doctor know this is not ADHD. But again, and as a nurse, I've seen it because I did do pediatrics for a minute. I couldn't take them kids, and I couldn't take them people with them kids, but I did it for a minute, and they do not pay attention. They don't pay attention. The signs are there, and I think they just, like you say, they don't want to take the time to diagnose these kids correctly. And that's why we have so many misdiagnosed kids, so many kids that are on these medications that are not helping them because they're taking the wrong medication for what you think they got, and it's not what they have. So, how do we stop that though? How do we stop that? Parents, pay attention to your kids. Pay attention to your kids, because when you take your kids to the doctor and the doctor asks you, why are you here? Oh, he been just doing it. No, you need to be specific. Look, on this day at this time, he did this. You need to start writing down things that you're seeing your kids do and have dates and times when things change and when things are happening. And when you go to the doctor, you bring these things with you and say, look, this is what I've witnessed over the last. So I decided for a whole week, I'm going to write down when he does this, when she does that, when she does this, how long she did it, what was the after effect, what did they do, how did they sleep, how did they eat. You have, because the psychiatrist told me to do that for my son. So you have to know your kids. You have to pay attention to your kids. And I think today, a lot of parents, they're not paying attention to their kids. And a lot of these things can be picked up before they start walking.
Yeah.
Because you can see and you can understand these things that are going on with your kids. You have to. You have to. But I just think that a lot of parents, we don't pay attention. We don't pay attention to our kids. And again, I had no idea that it was so hard to live with an autistic child. I didn't know, again, I don't know much about autism. I have a totally different background. So to hear you talk about the symptoms and the signs and the things that you've dealt with an autistic child, I'm like, whoa, I didn't know it was that much.
Let me tell you, it has been, you talk about physical, and like I said, I ain't a spring chicken, okay? I can't tell you. So here's the other thing. Being a woman of God, a spiritual woman of God, discerning what's going on, I would love to see the medical field embrace the spiritual aspects of the physical things that we see, because it starts in the spirit, okay? Believe it or not, okay? When the full moon hits, we got a different child over here. You hear me?
All hell breaks loose.
When the eclipse just happened, he was like, I'm like, oh boy, okay. I have had to wrestle him to the ground, Bible in hand, oil in hand, praying, whatever, praying, okay? And here's the thing. I have taken him, he has been to the hospital 3 times, okay, for his behavior. They should have kept him. But God is good, okay? I come back home with him. I said, well, I guess that's not the way to go, okay? But autism seems to affect more boys than girls. I don't know the percentage, but it seems to affect more boys than girls, okay? It's very challenging, and I feel bad that I would have to wrestle him to the ground to save his life, okay? Wow. Because if I let him go out here and they put him somewhere that I can't be able to continue my relationship with him, or they misdiagnose him, or they do, so I talked to him. He has the mindset to run away. I'm like, where are you going to go? I said, because the moment you step out there, they're going to know something's not right at home. Okay. This is the stuff that I have to deal with him as a high functioning artistic child. Okay. Wow. So it's calmed down somewhat, but I still have my days. I'm in here homeschooling him. I failed him in my homeschool, 12th grade, because I couldn't get him to focus. Huh?
Wow. No, we didn't say
no, he didn't get failed at homeschool.
He failed at home.
Because I couldn't. He doesn't feel well. I'm having to deal with the anger issues and the behavior part, the emotional and the behavior part. Okay, although I'm not trying to, our special needs kids are not general populated kids in educational system.
Right.
The school systems need to change and address. They're trying to jam all of this stuff that the other kids are having down their throat.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's very challenging. I'm not raising him to go to college if later on in life he wants to, for two reasons. Number one, they'll be in debt by the end of the first semester, 6 figures. Mm-hmm. Number two, what he can't, he's not capable of all of that the college requires. Right. So my thing is to prepare him for vocational or skill. Okay. So I mean, it's been very challenging. And like I said,
I looked up something that you said. So it says in the U.S. about 4 in 100 boys and 1 in 100 girls have autism. Boys are nearly 4 times more likely to be diagnosed with autism than girls. Autism prevalence is lower among white children than other racial and ethnic groups. Whites make up 2.4% of autistic kids. So just to go with what you said, yes, it seems as though more boys are being diagnosed with autism than girls. But we're going to go to Miss Kendra, who just joined us.
Hi,
one of our 3 queens.
Yes.
So Kendra also has a child with autism. So Kendra, talk to us about your son, right?
Yes. He was diagnosed at the age of 3. I knew, I figured something was going on, when he was a baby, when he would get his wellness checks, and I believe he was maybe 18 months, and he didn't pass the minimum words that they require, before they look into things. So it was around 18 months when we knew okay, he's not saying these many words, so they, wanted to do further testing, but he was on 18 months. So we had to wait it out a little bit. So it wasn't until the age of actually 3 when he went to Marcus Autism Center and was tested, and he was it came back that he was has severe autism spectrum disorder. So then that right there just changed the game for me, because it's this is my first time dealing with a child with autism. This is my 3rd child, and this is my only child that I've ever dealt with autism. I've never even dealt with it, period. Even in the family, I have brothers, siblings, and, nieces and nephews. This is my first time. So I'm well, what in the world, so I didn't understand it. But by the grace of God, I was given a lot of resources at Marcus Autism Center on how we can get him help. And of course, support for the mothers who are, trying to navigate life now with a child with autism. So it's been an ongoing journey. It's definitely changed a lot in the family. It's been some good. It's been some bad. It's been some unfortunate. And the fortunate part is he's nonverbal. He's nonverbal. However, with the last couple years of him being in ABA therapy, occupational and speech, he is actually saying numbers now. So we're getting breakthroughs. He's
good. All right. Okay.
A great memory. It's so crazy how well he functions with electronics. Don't get them twisted just because they, just because they may, be autistic, they're very smart, and they are thinkers. They think a lot. My son,
that brain, and that's what Miss Linda was talking about. is constantly. How old is your son now?
He's 5. He's 5.
He's 5, so he's still really small.
Yeah.
So are you getting the tantrums with him? Are you getting the still not sleeping because the mind is?
Yes, absolutely. I have to give him a melatonin because if not, he will be up all night long.
And so the melatonin is probably working because he's only 5. So yeah, because it's not working for her son anymore.
Oh, oh wow, bless your heart.
I'm not working.
Wow.
So,
are you able to increase the milligrams, to kind of help?
We maxed it out.
Oh, you maxed it out. What is the
well, her son is 19 now too, so
he's 19.
Yeah.
It ain't working.
Oh my goodness. Wow. It's like I'll cross that bridge when I get there. I'm like, it's working for right now. So praise God for that, because he can, he gets his rest and I get my rest. So we definitely see a breakthrough since the age of 3. I can say that.
Wow. So what kind of support do you have, like from the Institute? Like, what kind of support resources did they give you? Because your kid is only 5. So like, as far as learning and things like that, like what kind of support resources that they gave you to help your son?
They referred me to a really, really good facility that does ABA. He does ABA. He started out doing ABA actually in home because I was afraid for him to be, in the population with other kids. I didn't know how he was going to react. So that was okay. But then I was like, no, I actually want him to be around kids so he can know how to function around other kids when it comes time for him to go to school. So then he transitioned from in-home ABA. And then he goes to facilities. So that's one of the things that they do assist with, making sure it's covered, it's covered 100% covered under his insurance. So he does the ABA occupational and speech. I also get help with his diapers and pull-ups. I no longer pay out of pocket for diapers and pull-ups. He's not potty trained. He's actually semi-potty trained now, but they do provide you with free pull-ups, free diapers if they're in diapers. They assisted with that. They also assist with just training for parents, just so we can know how to navigate as a parent. So that was a resource. Also, what's been a very good resource is it's called hold on, let me see. It's where they actually have an agency pays a provider to come and watch your child while you have, like, if you want to go out, or something, instead of like an actual babysitter, they have people that are trained to come, and help you with that.
Is it almost like an in-home respite care?
Yeah, in-home respite care.
Respite is wonderful.
Yeah,
it is wonderful.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and if you don't, a lot of people don't even know what respite is. They don't even know that they have it.
Right.
But respite is just a place, or they can come to your home where they come in it. They're trained professionals, sometimes nurses, and they're trained professionals, trained how to deal with adults with Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, that kind of stuff. And they're trained to deal with kids like ADHD, bipolar, autism, those things. They're trained to deal with these kids. And what they do, they'll come into your home and they'll sit with your kids while you get a break, while you can go and do whatever you want to do. You go shopping and you can go out, you can do whatever you want to do. And it's called respite care. Now, there are respite facilities where you can bring your kids for the weekend. There's beds, there's food, there's everything. And these are trained professionals in a building. You can bring your kids and your kids can stay the whole weekend while you have a weekend break. Or your adult parents or siblings that are dealing with dementia, Alzheimer's, any type of memory, anything like that, anything, or they can be not physical, like they could have be paralyzed in a wheelchair. I mean, anything where families have to work with loved ones that, I'm just going to say overall loved ones that have disabilities, there is a such thing as respite care. And that's what it is. It is someone that will come in, trained professionals. Again, like I say, mostly they're nurses or somebody like that, or they're therapists, physical, occupational. They will come and give you a break from your kids so you can kind of have a life. You can kind of have somewhat of a life, because 9 times out of 10, from what I know and what I hear, these parents are dealing with these kids with autism or whatever else 7 days a week. So you gotta have an outlet, or you're gonna burn yourself out, and you just gonna be crazy because you need a break. You need a break. It's a lot, and it's child. Ooh.
That's true.
God give his, how you said, God give his strongest battles to his strongest soldiers, because y'all got to be soldiers. Because
I didn't get respite. That's one thing I didn't get is respite. I've been doing this by myself.
Wow. Wow.
Here's another place. I'm going to recommend this place. I didn't get to do the Marcus thing because let me tell you, I don't like driving on Georgia's roads. I go to back road, I go to scenic road because the traffic is just that's enough to stress you out. That's a whole nother thing. But this place, I took my children, all of them, Douglasville Children's Therapy Service and Associates. They're excellent. They're in Lithia Springs.
Lithia Springs.
Yes, they're.
What is it again, Nisa? Can you put that in the chat? What is it again? Douglasville what?
Douglasville Children's Therapy Services and Associates.
Okay. We're gonna put that in the chat for anybody that just tuned in or has been listening. We're talking about, this is Autism Acceptance Month. And so we're talking to parents who are raising autistic kids. And listen, I'm learning because I didn't know all this about autism. And this is a lot to deal with. This is a lot for a person to deal with. So I'm glad that there are resources out there, because so many times these parents have kids with disability and they don't know which way to go. Right. And nobody's helping them. All the doctors are doing is giving them diagnosis, but they're not giving them resources.
Right.
So all of the resources that you guys are talking about, we're putting in the chat for people that are listening, because everybody knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who's either dealing with a kid with autism, or even an adult child, or just an adult period, that probably are still looking for resources for their kids.
Right. So, and speaking of that, our TLA sister, Audrina Howell, just logged on and she's watching now. She's one of the people, Kendra, that I was telling you about, that her oldest, or her son, Danny, is autistic.
Yeah, I was going to reach out to her to have her come on next week with somebody else, so she can tell us her, story, and let us know how she's dealing with. But I have a question for Kendra. Like, when your son has, like, I know Miss Linda said when her son has his tantrums and stuff, she just has to hold him and she prays and she does whatever. But when your son does it, because he's so much younger,
right?
And she dealt with that when he was younger as well. Like, what are your calming methods for him to try to get him to kind of calm down or just kind of settle down?
Yeah, that's a good question, because he doesn't have too many tantrums, actually. I've been very fortunate, but he did last night. But the reason why he had a tantrum is because he couldn't find his episode that he wanted to watch. So he loves Ninja Turtles. So when he knows how to navigate and turn on the Ninja Turtles. So when he didn't get to the episode he wanted to watch, he had a tantrum. So I said, okay, let me go ahead and give you some attention, because I understand your episode is not, coming on right now. So I actually still pick him up. I still pick him up like, he's a
toddler. I mean, he's 5. Yeah, you got to pick him up.
I do. I'll pick him up and, like, I'll, just give him a hug and kisses. I was like, give him a hug, just so he could know that mommy's here. I understand you having a little a moment, but mommy's still here, you know. So I still do baby him. So, and that soothes him, knowing that he could still get that baby care. So he loves that. But when he's away from me, you know, they have toys, his favorite toys, to soothe him when he does have a tantrum when he's away at the facility.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Audrina said most organizations are for minors, autistic children. Autistic and children become autistic adults who may still need some form of care. Yeah, and I can agree with that, because every time I see something about autism, it's always about the kids. So, Miss Linda, for you, like, I know your son is 19. Is there still like a lot of resources out there for him, because he's gone into that young man stages? So are the resources still out there as much for you now that he's older?
Well, I haven't had too much luck, but I just met with his counselor for Georgia. I always get this wrong. Georgia Vocational Agency. What is it? It's GVA. I forget. Anyway, they helped my son, the older one, with getting a job. So he's now employed. So I'm getting ready to put Tamir into this program for them to help him. It's Georgia Vocational Rehab Agency. That's what it is.
Okay.
And they help with kids like, you know, him with an IEP. We're getting ready to put an application in at Roosevelt Warm Springs. There was Cave Springs. I found out recently that has closed down. That was a smaller facility where they were teaching independent skills, and I was trying to get both boys, and one in Roosevelt and him in the Tamir in the Cave Springs. COVID messed up a whole lot. So Cave Springs has changed their program. I think it's no longer residential, but some place like Roosevelt Warm Springs will help children with disabilities, or young, you know, his age, teenagers with skills, learned skills. So that's the avenue that I'm getting ready to go down with him. I'm hoping that they will accept him into the program. Other than that, there are not too many programs that I know of that I can get him in.
One of our sisters said Roosevelt Warm Springs is awesome. Her son attended there and have graduated. So that is, and somebody else, Michelle said Georgia Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. So there is some resources out there. And that's good to know, because you guys that's a lot. And for you, Miss Linda, to have done all of this by yourself and not have had that support, I'm like, what? It is, you know, that's crazy. That is crazy. 19 years, because you got him when he was, you said what, months old, right?
3 months, right?
A month.
1 month old.
1 month old.
Oh,
And
wow.
you've been dealing with this all by yourself for 19 years. That is crazy to me. That is crazy.
Here's another subject that you know, people like my niece, who has she's younger than I, and you, Kendra, you know, I am not a spring chicken. I'm in my 60s, okay? When it's horrible. They want the kids to be at 12 on their own, and you can't parent them, you can't help them tell anything, and then it flips. Well, now, you know, you can do this, but you got to go to court, you got to have guardianship papers and blah blah blah. That costs a lot of money. I decided not to do guardianship or conservatorship with either one of my boys, because I don't know who would come and fill in my shoes to make sure that they have. Okay. So, you know, I talked to him. I said, you have to trust mom with, you know, if you don't understand, ask questions. But I decided not to do that with my kids. you know, and just praying that they will, especially the one with autism, that he will be, I worry about him. Of all the kids, I worry how he's going to be, if he's going to be on his own. I don't want to dash his vision or dream. You know, he talks, he wants to travel. Okay. I said, you got to be responsible for travel. I'm willing to get him a van, and we work this out to the point where I know he could live in his van. That's what he wants to do and travel. But I have to make sure he's safe. You know, even though they have this disability. Somebody said to me the other day, and I like this term, rather than to say special needs, special abilities. Okay, because when you look at my children,
okay,
you have no idea that they have disabilities. I have worked my butt off getting them to a place where they're at. Okay, so you know, that's another talk about who's going to take care of your kids when you're gone.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
I think about that a lot, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like my daughter would be that, you know, that one, but I'm just like, you know, she doesn't have kids. So I'm like, Lord, I pray that she just has the patience. You know?
Right.
So, yeah.
But I know Miss Linda talked about it earlier, but Kendra, for you, because your son is so young,
okay, right.
how did the diagnosis of autism change your family dynamic?
Well, it's in my household, it's just myself, him, and his 12-year-old brother. So it does get a little hard on on his 12-year-old sibling, because, you know, I have to work, you know, even though I'm self-employed, you know, I still have, you know, some things. So, you know, I make sure that the oldest looks after him, you know, and just make sure that, you know, he's okay. Although we're in the same house, you know, Prince is really fast. So I was like, you know, just make sure he's okay. So sometimes it can put a strain on, you know, my oldest, because he does have to be that older brother to look out for him. But I also understand, you know, it's a different type of situation dealing with Prince. Now, as far as the other family members, it's actually pretty sad, because my other family members, unfortunately, and it's very unfortunate, they don't like for me to bring him over there. They live out of state. They prefer for me not to bring him to the house, because he gets into stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he climbs, and he climbs, and he'll break things. You know, he'll get into things. You know, he messes with things. You know, that's just what he does. He's curious. So unfortunately, my mother prefers for him not to be there, which is so sad, because I'm like,
your mom?
My mother, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. This is the ugly side of it.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
The ugly side, where your own mother doesn't really want to have her grandchild over because of his, you know, disability.
Have you ever like sat your mom down and say, hey, listen, there's training. Can you go with this training with me to learn how to deal with him? Or not even just your mom, like any other family members that you're around all the time, are they willing to like be trained or just know about what's going on with their family member?
As far as training, no, but my brothers have actually stepped up and helped a lot, a great bit. I can say I do have I have older brother and two younger brothers, and whenever we do come in town, they will actually watch him. You know, it's my mom is a little older, so she's just like, you know, I can't move, I can't run, you know, like that. So, you know, I just prefer for him not to be over here, because I'm not as mobile. But my brothers will step up. Now, as far as training, no. You know, but I got to tell them how to treat, you know, how to deal with them, you know. So it's just one of those things.
So I'm going to read. My sis Audrina said, COVID did interrupt a lot of opportunities for disabled adults. I'm still attempting to get my son back on track. And then she said she doesn't have a guardianship either. She said, however, she completed a HERPA form for each new provider. And she also said that's why it's most important to have a trust place a will in the trust to prevent the state from obtaining guardianship.
Oh.
And then she also says she wrote a research paper 20 years ago regarding the impact of a sibling being raised with a special needs child. But let's go back to the point where she said that's why it's important to have a trust in place, a will in the trust that prevents the state from obtaining guardianship. I don't know, like this would have to be researched. Like for me, Miss Linda, because your kids were adopted and they came from the state, I know that they're yours now, but would the state allow you to put them in a trust where they cannot obtain guardianship if anything happens to you now? Do you know?
I don't know about that. I think my kids have escaped the age limit as to concern about where they're not
babies anymore, but they're adults, with disabilities, so that might be different. You know what I'm saying?
I haven't thought about that. I look at my son as I tell them be whatever. My dad used to say, if you're gonna be a ditch digger, be the best ditch digger you can. Okay. Yeah. I'm looking to, he makes beautiful ditty music, a very nice little, and I could see this being music behind like games or something. So I look at my children, I tell them all the time, I'm not raising followers, I'm raising leaders. Okay.
Right.
And his oldest brother, his stepbrother, and I consider brother, my son, my oldest son, he's in the entertainment business with gaming and movies and things like that. And I'm like, you should talk to your brother. This is me talking to my oldest son. Talk to your brother because I think there's some skill there. So despite his fact that he has autism, okay, high functioning, he is gifted. Okay. And that's how I see my children, as gifted. Okay. And I encourage him, most parents, like I said, I'd get him the van and fix it so that he could live in it. Most parents would consider that, but I'm just not going to turn it over to him like that. I want to make sure he's safe. So I'm not, my thing was I can't do a conservative or guardianship because I don't know who's going to come behind me and do this.
Right. So another question is, because your son, and this is a question for Audrina too, which we'll get more to talk to you more next week, but this is a question for Audrina because you guys have older kids. God forbid, I'm not speaking this over your life, God forbid anything happens to you, and I mean you can fall and break your leg and you can't look after them anymore. So do you think because they're autistic, not having you around, would you think that would be a setback for them? Or should you guys think about having somebody around now that they're getting acclimated to? Audrina, you still young, but Miss Linda, I mean, I'm not calling you old, Miss Linda.
I know,
but like you say, you're not a spring chicken. You're in your late 60s, are you guys thinking about, and even Kendra, I mean, we don't know when God is going to call us home.
Right.
We could walk out of our door right now at 17 and never come back in. So did you guys think about the impact that it will have on your kids when you're not there, especially you, Miss Linda, because you've been doing all of this by yourself? Are you thinking about like, oh my God, you're teaching him, but you have to realize 19 years you've been his only. So what are you guys thinking about that? Like, even Audrina, do you think about that? Well, Audrina said her family and friends are very supportive, so that she has that extra support and they're around. But I'm talking about like Kendra, like your mom and other family members. Like, are y'all thinking about like what's gonna happen when y'all not around?
You know, I honestly don't know. People ask me, how do you do it? I say, I really don't know. I get up the next day and put the foot in front of the other foot and keep moving. I have not given thought to who's going to take care of my children. God forbid something happens to me. I don't know. I'm just praying the good Lord keeps me long enough to see all of them do what it is that they want to do it and do it well. I have a positive mind to believe that even though I worry about this one son, I worry about him, you know, but he's smart. And one of the things that my oldest son, his dad, talked to him before he passed, he told my son about Michael Faraday, who was a well-known scientist, a great mathematician who had autism. Look at Elon Musk. He has autism. There are many successful people out there. So I don't look at it as, oh, I can't see beyond the time of, I tell him, look, mom's not going to always be here. And he says smart little things because he's angry with me and he'll put me somewhere. I'm like, no, you won't, you know? So I'm just believing and trusting God that the Lord is going to allow me to see him be who he's supposed to be in life, and he'll be okay. That's all I can envision right now. Do I don't know. I mean, because it's challenging, but I don't have anybody that can say, you know, when my oldest son, because I only had one child, him. And when I adopted the first one and that one came in the door looking like him, I was like, oh my God, you know, my son was jealous, okay, that I had adopted these children. And he said, why would you go and do that? Because this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to have more children. I didn't, but I wanted to do this. And my sister opened the door. She's older than me. She adopted 5, okay, out the system. So, wow. You know, all of my siblings are all older than me. I don't know who's going to, if something happens to me, what's going to happen. I'm just asking the good Lord, let me live long to see them be in the place where they need to be. And that's how I think.
Audrina said, I returned to college while being employed full-time when my son was in middle school and my daughter was attending college out of state. That was the first time allowing my son to be somewhat independent. Yeah. I mean, that's excellent that, you know, he was in school and was able to go to school and do, you know, and learn and do the things that he did to even go to school. I just, you know, with the parents, especially like with Miss Linda, she dealt with a lot of tantrums with him, having to go to school and having on numerous occasions, you know, for me, I probably, had it been, I can't really say what I would have done because I'm not in that, what I will do because I've never been in that situation. But for me, being a mom that I am with my kids who just crazy, you know, I would have to homeschool like Miss Linda because I would be so afraid. You know, this day and time, kids are so cruel. You have 5th and 6th graders hanging themselves and killing themselves because of bullying. So I would be so afraid that somebody would say something to my child, and then I would probably have to go to jail because I'm going to
that right there.
Because I'm going to the school. Because one, you already know that my child, something wrong with my child. Now y'all messing with my child. So I'm about to go to jail. So just, yeah. You know, so is it hard? Like, Kendra, I know for you that your son is 5, so he'll be going to school soon. How are you feeling about him getting ready to go to school with other kids? And you know, how you feel about it? Because he's going to be in school with other kids that doesn't have a disability and with kids that have a disability. How are you feeling about that transition?
Actually, the good thing about this, that's actually one of the resources that I received from Marcus Autism Center. In Gwinnett County, they actually do have a school for kids with disabilities. So he actually would be going to a school with other kids with disabilities. are trained professionals to handle his, his behavior. So that's one of the good things that Gwinnett County, they do offer. So that part, I'm relieved that he'll get some extra support, and there will be other kids, that, he can relate to, just like now he's at the facility. So he goes to the facility from 9 to 5. So that's the same as school hours. So he's being trained already with how to interact with other kids, how to take direction, what to do, his lunch period, his potty period, circle time, it's time to work, it's time to play. So he's already in that type of environment. So when it's time for him to go to school, I believe that by the grace of God, he'll be okay. And he's kind of already being potty trained. So by the time that time comes, I believe he'll be all right.
So what about his food? I know Miss Linda said that her son was very vigilant about certain foods he ate because of textures and things like that. So what about your son? How is his eating? And is he just eating regular foods like everybody else? Or does he just want certain things at certain times?
No, he's just like everybody else. He has a great appetite. Now, my other child, the one who's 12, he's the picky eater. He's the one that doesn't like certain things because of the texture. But my son Prince, the 5-year-old, no, he has an appetite like none other. Give him some wings or some fish. Yeah, he will go to town.
Wow. Adrena said, my son stated public school at age 3. We did not encounter issues until middle school. I transferred him out. He did well. His first year of high school, I was going to jail. Literally. I feel you on that. She said, researched and found the right high school for him, and he thrived. The students and educators were very helpful. My concern, and it's my concern for other kids because I don't have no kids in school. My sons are 32 and 26. So I don't have any kids in school, but I feel for my granddaughter. I do have a granddaughter she's 12. Well, she just made 13 in February. But, these educators are getting younger and younger. Yes. And they don't care about the kids. I want my son, not my son, it's my granddaughter. I want my granddaughter to go in the classroom and the lady got gray hair. She wearing glasses with the string around them so she can get some. Because I know she's going to get taught right. I know she's going to get educated. And I know that woman ain't going to be, if she's doing something, she ain't going to be like, oh, you got to go to the principal office, I'm going to call your mama. She going to get you up there. She going to pinch that leg. She going to tell you sit down because you going to learn. Yes. This is what these kids need. We don't have that in school anymore.
Oh, I know.
We don't have those teachers. I'm not going to say teachers. I'm going to say educators. We don't have those educators in the school anymore that really care. Now, you have a few that really care about our kids and gonna try with our kids before they just call a mom and say, oh, well, he's doing this and he's disrupting my class and he's doing this, instead of taking the time to really find out what's going on with the child. Because sometimes the child could be having issues at home. And this is why they're not functioning in the class. But you have to take the time to talk to these kids and not just be ready to throw them out of your class. And I'm talking elementary. My mother was an elementary school teacher, and I was about to go up to that school of plenty days for a 3rd grader, okay?
Because schools are not like they are used to.
They worse than the high school student.
Yeah.
And then the high school girl, she polishing her nails in my mama class. My mama told her, stop, put it away. She cussed my mama out.
Oh,
I said, Ma, what time you get off? What time you get out there? What? Girl. But, the educators, they're just not like they used to be. They just
the rules are different now with the schools. They can't do too much. They can't do too much or they'll lose their job.
Well, the schools have become babysitting services paid. Okay. And when I took my son out and I put him, he graduated 5th grade from Georgia Connections. I told you we had issues, brick and mortar. He was from the brick and mortar school to the virtual school. So he graduated 5th grade. And if you've never experienced, we tried K-12 and somebody recommended Georgia Connections, and I will recommend Georgia Connections virtual school. They still have a MOS, a memorandum of understanding connected to Georgia's.
Okay.
And I got a good dose of what it was like to teach, because you have to be a learning coach with your kid along with this Georgia Connection. I did some of the teachers' work. School is different. It's no longer education. It's discipline and, babysitting. Okay, so we're losing our seasoned teachers that knew how to deal with. They didn't have no diagnosis of ADHD and autism, Asperger's. You got your knuckles cracked when I was in school. You got your knuckles cracked. They dealt with it.
Yeah, and Audrina said they can't do too much because parents become angry when educators or administrators discipline their child in any form. But I understand that, Audrina, but what I'm saying is, I was just making a joke about the discipline, but we got that when we were in school. But what I'm saying is, it only takes 5 minutes for a teacher to pull a child aside and get their attention and say, hey, what's going on? I'm not talking about back in the day, like she said, them teachers had them rulers. And they had them string on them glasses because they sat on their chest. They had them rulers. I know that you cannot do that in the schools today. But if you care anything about these students, you can always pull them to the side. And when I feel like when the educators don't do that, the students feel like nobody cares.
That nobody cares.
Because sometimes they do things in class because they want attention. They want somebody to show them that they care. So when you're not doing that, the students feel like, oh, well, mom and daddy don't care at home. My aunties and my uncles, I don't talk to them. They don't care. I go to school and I'm doing this, and the teachers don't care. So it's more of a talk to the students. Pull them to the side when they're going out of class. And, even if you got to tell them, hey, come see me after school because I need to talk to you about whatever. But they're not doing that anymore either. Autistic, bipolar, ADHD, whatever else is out there in these kids that,
dyslexia. Why are we
talking? All of that. Audrina said sometimes even attempting to talk to them is challenging. Students are afraid to speak up because parents are crazy. I'm one of those. Okay, my daughter is employed at a high school and I'm at a college. Yeah. But we got to take a chance because I'll never forget, and I'm gonna say this about this post that I saw on Facebook, and I know you all probably have seen it too. And it was a post about a little boy. I think it was a little boy who had wrote a suicide note because he was going to kill himself. And he had gone to school a couple of days. Nobody said anything to him. And then one day, I think he went home and the dad finally talked to him, or a friend or something finally talked to him and kept him from killing himself this particular day that he had planned to kill himself because he thought nobody cared about him. And just that one conversation with whoever it was, I don't remember, changed his attitude because he realized, oh my God, people do see me and people do care about me. And he did not kill himself.
Praise God.
But he was planning to that night. And it all goes to when these kids and adults, you don't know what somebody's going through.
Right.
You don't know at what point somebody is at a breakthrough.
Right.
I mean, not a breakthrough, but a breakdown.
Breakdown. Yeah.
You don't know when they are. So it's always to be kind to people. Just say hi. Because they might have passed 20 people who didn't say anything to them on this day that they feel like they was just not worth being here. But just your simple, hello, how you doing, could save somebody's life.
That's true. That's
and that's true. Dealing with autistic kids, like Nisa say, Lady K say, dyslexic, bipolar, ADD, ADHD. Somebody has to care about these kids.
Yeah.
Somebody has to pay attention to these kids, because a lot of these kids are going through middle school right now who have some of these disabilities that nobody has recognized yet.
Yeah.
And they're being labeled as a bad student. They're not paying attention. They're having these tantrums, but nobody is really paying attention to the things that these kids are doing.
Yeah.
That have not yet been diagnosed with Asperger's, autism,
anything,
lupus. I mean, any disease out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not being paid attention to. So how do we change the narrative? How do we change it?
Bring more.
I think the school needs to be structured. The beauty about homeschooling is, and I use Gather Round Homeschool. Her and her family just moved from Canada because they were in Canada. They moved to Athens, Georgia. And she had tried all of the programs out there. She's tried it and she's come up with hers. The beauty about homeschooling is they don't have to get up at 8 or 6 or 7, they can come down in their pajamas. We can start on the project if I need to stop, if we need to talk. Okay. One of the things that I'm reading the book, Teach Like Finland. Finland is in the top 3 international schooling systems, and they simply let kids be kids. Okay. They let them take the breaks when they need to. They don't give them homework. The teachers aren't stressed out in the teacher's lounge. The teachers aren't working 14, 15 hours a day, then go home and do some more work. So I think the first thing that needs to happen is the school structures need to change, where they're catering to each child's, recognizing what the child needs and catering to that child's need. As I said, the school system has become a babysitting service because the structure of the family has broken down. No longer is it a one-parent home working. It's both parents working. And if you're a single mom, you're mom and dad. Okay. Yes. The other thing that needs to happen is the community structure. It does take a village to raise a child. We need more than ever a system in the village where our children are safe and they're not being picked off, trafficked, sex trafficked, abused. Okay. That needs to happen. And as I said earlier, our men, I don't care, black, polka dot, red, yellow, blue, our men need to step up with the single moms who are single. We need help, and it needs to be consistent. And then our children need to be diagnosed properly and stop trying to stuff it under ADHD.
Yes.
So that they can meet the guidelines according to the Department of Ed's whatever curriculum. These children, they may go to college at a later date, in the instance with my son, but teaching him algebra, geometry, and whatever, trigonometry is not going to help my son.
Nope.
Okay.
Right.
Education needs to be tailored to help these kids live and function.
Right.
Yes. Life skills. They need life skills.
Well, y'all, we are over our time, but we're not gonna rush out of here because Miss Linda has a poem that she wants to read, and after that, after she reads her poem, I would like for her and Kendra to give what would you say, what advice would you give to the parents that are dealing with autistic kids? But we y'all gonna do that after Miss Linda reads this poem. So go ahead, Miss Linda.
This poem was written when I was young and dealing with welfare. That's another whole can of worms. doesn't really help us. I've offered to give structure to that, but it's called welfare form. Child, I was all dressed up but nowhere to go in this 1990s recycle inferior trap. Sure, have another baby, 1 or 2 more. Before eyes knows it, I got a mess of mouths to feed. Surely I's worth 50 cents more. Oh, Miss Ann, I'm doing fine. Got my once a month check and food stamps too. Everything's just fine, except that 50 cents ain't enough to pay Mr. Meet the Bill Man, you know. So I guess I lays my tired, broken body down and has me another mouth to feed in 9 months. Then I gets me 50 cents more, except all my dreams and hopes of a better life all gone up in smoke. Oh well, I guess nothing's changed. It's just like my mama was, welfarely employed. If you know what I mean, least I know I's got. I don't know. What does I got?
That's kind of deep. Yeah, that's kind of deep. Wow. Yeah. And it's so sad that so many of us know that. We know that road. And we know our parents knew that road. But I thank you for that poem. That was really, really deep, really deep. So I want you guys to give the people out there. Ooh, why is that dragging now? Give the people out there who are listening some of your advice on how to deal with a child with autism, to go along with like some of the things that you've done. Just because there's some parents out there who have autistic kids who don't know, well, they'll know now about the resources if they tuned into the show, but they don't have, or know the resources that you guys had. So give them some advice on how to deal with it and what to look for and just how to handle an autistic kid from your perspective. So Kendra, I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay. My advice is, during these wellness checks, pay attention, during these wellness checks, if your child is not saying certain words or meeting certain words, because this can be tackled early on where they can get the help needed. So thankfully I paid attention, at 18 months, and then I had to wait a little bit, for him to get tested, but I was on it early on. So he's been able, to get the help, very young, because, I paid attention and wanted him to get the help that he needed. And just having patience. You do have to have a lot of patience. It will test you like none other. You will get let me tell you. But don't blame yourself. I remember a time I did blame myself. I said, why did God do this to me? Why did I get cursed? But now I'm like, God's blessed me because he trusts me to handle such a special child. I said, so now it's why. So why not me? So just don't blame yourself. Don't feel like it's something you did during your pregnancy. No. God knew what he was doing. So your child is still a blessing. Autistic, no matter what they've been diagnosed with, they are still a blessing. And God wants you to learn something during this during this season. So just do a lot of research, get a strong support system, and stay prayed up.
That's great advice. Great advice. Yeah. All right, Miss Linda.
I agree with much of what Kendra said. In my case, I adopted these children, and I call them my Moses tribe, and they truly do have the attributes of Moses. And in fact, the one that has the autism, he is truly an Aaron. He's gifted. Have patience. I'm not knocking the professionals, but you as the mother, this child is with you 24/7. You know, and you recognize and you know what's right or what something needs to be addressed. Just because the doctor might say so, okay? and it doesn't fit well in your spirit, you know something is not right. Be persistent until you get the answers that you're seeking. Take one day at a time. Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's already closed. Just stand in today. We are the heads and not the tails. We are above and not beneath. God blessed us with these children. I think if I didn't have these children, I'd be dead because I was a workaholic. Okay. And these children, though some days I just want to go, you know, they're a blessing. Okay. They are a blessing. So be patient. You don't have to accept with other people who don't live in your home, who don't experience what you're experiencing and seeing. You don't have to, not even the medical profession, you don't have to take that as their golden say so or rule. If you do not agree with the diagnosis or things that you see, find another doctor.
Right.
Okay. And these children, I like the word that I recently heard. It's not special needs. These are special. They have special abilities because even in their state of their disability, they're a blessing. We don't have it all. Okay. They have whatever they're supposed to have. It's our responsibility to nourish and nurture and encourage them to get where they want to be. Okay. We can only, don't box them in. Don't tell them that they can't do. They can do. All of us have something that we struggle with, and we may not be labeled with disability. Okay. But they are capable individuals. So be patient. There are days I want to throw the towel in and I want to kick them out the house. And I have taken them and they weren't supposed to be there. Okay. And they come right back home with me. And I'm like, I guess Lord wants me to raise these kids. Give me strength, Lord, to do this.
Yeah.
And he'll give you strength to do it.
Yes, he will.
Maybe you ladies might need to think about connecting and doing a autistic support group. You never know. You never know. Moms with Autism support group. That would be something to do. Y'all think about it.
Well, I can say I may have a place for you all that we could do that. So we could talk about that.
Okay.
It could be a branch of ministry at the church that I'm at. It's a small church, and that might be something that we might be able to see come to pass.
Right now. Okay. Might be the beginning of something big right here.
Look, I just said, look at God. Look at God.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, I cannot look at her. I cannot thank you guys enough for just taking the time to talk to us. One, you have educated me on a disability that I really didn't have a lot of knowledge about. So thank you for educating me, because I just didn't know. And that's the thing about people. When you don't know, try to learn. So this was a learning experience for me. And especially listening to you guys talk about some of the things you noticed in your kids. Now, my son, I'm gonna be looking at him like this. He did that, and we're gonna get him checked out. But I'm just making jokes. But still, it's things now that even in my other family members who are having babies, that Lord, I got 3 cousins that's pregnant, about to have babies. I just had one that just had a baby. That's 4. So, now looking at, them and just making them aware if I see something now because I know.
Yeah.
And then I can tell them, don't just let them diagnose your child with no ADHD. You tell them to do some more testing to figure out what's going on. So again, I appreciate you guys coming on and talking to us. And not just me, but educating all of us in the Ladies Den, because
and all of our
you got 2 medical people in here, but I don't know if Kiki had knowledge of autism or not, but if she did, we still got a broader spectrum of what it is and how it works and the things that you guys actually deal with. And you guys have given so much information to our viewers tonight. It is awesome because somebody listening might not have had a resource. They might not have known where to go.
Yes.
So,
may I add one more thing?
Absolutely.
The choice you make for a pediatrician. Okay. I lost a pediatrician because I would not give my children the vaccines that they needed. As a young mother, if you're a young mother and you have a child and you suspect something medically is going on, pick a pediatrician who's going to work with you and who will not support giving your child all of those doses of vaccines at one time. See if they'll work with you. If you insist on having the vaccines, then see if they'll slow some of the vaccines, especially as babies, slow some of the vaccines down so they're not impacted all at once. Because even though you read about the medical saying that the vaccines were not, one of the young ladies in the Canna Globe read a report that said there's a lawsuit against.
There absolutely is.
Make sure
there absolutely is.
Make sure you pick a pediatrician who is not by the books of the medical professions.
Right. Okay.
I work for a pediatrician. I went from OBGYN to pediatrician, and like I said, I've just been, in the background listening, but I just recently started there. So, and it's amazing because, we have a lot of patients that come in, a lot of young kids for ADHD consults. You have a lot of parents that call in, they're saying, they're giving their reasonings why they suspect the ADHD and some of the things that they're going through. And these doctors that I work for, they've been in the business, the pediatricians, for over 30 something years, and the patients that they have, they've been there. A lot of the mothers been around like 20. Their kids actually can come to their 18 and 21.
Yeah.
They've seen them, a long time. And like I said, just recently, it's different for me, but it's like I said, it's an experience and it's new because you see a lot of kids with autism. You see a lot of kids that's on that spectrum. You see, we've seen, kids with the ADHD or that have those symptoms. And it's, so it's just listening, just sitting back, listening to you guys, your stories and knowing that, I do this at work, I check them in, up front, but it's still seeing this on a different level. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, hey, it's out there. And like you said, you don't want to so much medicate these kids without finding the underlying and what's going on. Because there could be a lot of reasonings for these, parents that come up there, my child is not focused. My child is doing this. My child is doing that. I'm not sure. I don't know what to do. But let's stop labeling them until we find out exactly what's going on. That's just like putting a child on Ritalin. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Back in the day, that's what they did a whole lot of.
Yeah,
it was like
they did.
If your kid is not focused and they're acting up in class, they're doing this. Okay, put them on Ritalin, put them on this. Well, you can't just say that's. I mean, the kid could be bored. The kid could be just, what I'm saying. There could be a lot of other reasons besides just want to throw them, put medication on them because the medications that they give as a child is different. It's on a different level than an adult. Yes. So sometimes these kids, they don't understand once you start giving them that medication, why they're having these different, like you said, the sleepwalk, they're up all night and having these, mental things, you know, thinking about stuff that they shouldn't even be thinking about on different levels. And not that's, you know, we have to be careful how we handle our children, and parents have to stop just okaying it. Stop just saying, okay, if this is what you're saying, you know, what's going on, stop agreeing. Get a second opinion. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Try to, because our parents back in the day, they didn't just throw our kids on medicine. They didn't just, you know, saying, hey, okay, if the child is, you know, acting out in school or acting out or whatever the case may be, they didn't just go by what the doctor said.
Right.
You know, so we have to start. I mean, I know it's in the foods, it's in the stuff that we eat, it's in it's in a lot of stuff nowadays.
Yes.
But
we just
you
have
know,
to
also, I'm sorry, Kiki, also on the medical aspect, what these doctors are, and they're doctors and they should know, but they feel like they're doing the right thing. But what they're not understanding is, if you're giving a child a medication for something that they don't have, you still have to understand that this medicine is functioning neurologically. So they could be altering something neurologically that ain't nothing wrong with.
Right.
So you definitely have to be, like Kendra said, you have to be vigilant. You pay attention to these wellness checks. You pay attention to how your kids are reacting. And there is nothing, people, I'm telling you, for your kids, your mama, your daddy, yourself, your husband, your sister, your brother, there is nothing in the world wrong with telling the doctor, I want to get a second opinion.
Second opinion.
Some people feel like they can't tell their doctors that because the doctors are going to get mad at. But this is your life. This is your loved one life. And you want to be certain. There is nothing wrong with saying, okay, I got your information. It's in here, but I want to get a second opinion. And sometimes you ain't even got to tell them that. Okay, doc, thank you. Let me think about it. Don't automatically just say, oh, they want to give your child all this medication. And you're like, okay. And then you go and get the prescription and you got this child on the medicine. And next thing you know, a couple of days after they're on the medicine, they sitting around like this.
Yeah.
Right.
In a daze, because now this drug has altered something neurologically that wasn't wrong.
Right. Oh my.
So there is nothing wrong with leaving that office with a prescription, but not filling it and go and see another doctor.
Point taken. My point exactly.
There's nothing wrong with it. But
exactly.
Yeah, we have to care more about our kids and what's going on with them.
Mm-hmm. We do indeed.
This has been eye-opening and learning. But I know we done kept y'all ladies on here long enough. I appreciate you guys again so much. We, the ladies, then Cass, Lady K, Kiki, and myself, we appreciate you guys taking the time again. I'm not gonna say to talk to us, but taking the time to educate us on something we knew nothing about. So, and next week we're actually gonna have an adult on that has autism, that is living with autism. And I'm going to get Audrina on next week if she's available to talk more about her son, because her son is 35 with autism. Wow. So I know she has a lot to share. Like tonight, she shared some things, but it's Autism Acceptance Month, which is also Autism Awareness Month. So the rest of this month, we're going to be talking about autism, the different forms of autism, and talking to people who are raising kids with autism, and talk to adults who live with autism. And it's also Poetry Month. So each episode, the rest of this month, we will have a spoken word artist that are talking about struggles and might be talking about autism within that poetry. So, Ms. Linda, we thank you for that poem. That was really deep. It was really nice. And another thing, thank you all for bringing us into your home, because this is personal stuff.
Yeah.
You know, telling us what you deal with on a daily basis. This is personal stuff. So we appreciate you guys bringing us into your home and sharing, you know, your struggles and sharing your information and what you deal with on a daily basis. So I definitely appreciate that. We went over our time tonight, almost an hour, but when you're talking about something as important as this, then it has no time limit for me. So, and because Miss Linda, I know you are this church person, I want you to bring the ladies den out tonight with a nice prayer for these kids and these families that are dealing with or suffering with this unique ability. So can you bring us out on a prayer, Miss Linda?
Yes. Lord, I just thank you for this opportunity to share, Father Lord, these things that we as parents, Father Lord, with our children with special abilities deal with daily. Father, I ask you to bless the ladies' den, Father Lord. I ask, Father, let this be the avenues that open up, Father Lord, that people will come and listen and hear what these ladies have. Open their platform up, Father, to teach us. Father, I ask you to strengthen Kenya, Father Lord, Kendra, Father, with her little 5-year-old son, Father Lord, I ask that her path be made smooth. Father, I thank you, Father Lord. I just ask that you keep us, Father, strengthen us, for your word says that yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's already closed. Lord, we thank you for allowing us to stand in today and get all that you have for us, but most important that we get understanding. So Lord, I ask that you bless each one, Father, give us a peaceful night that we may be able to run on, Father, with the task that you have placed in our hands. And I pray these prayers with the precious blood. I call him Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, the Messiah. In Yeshua's name, I pray. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Right. Amen. Yes. Thank you. Yes. And we just want to say thank everyone for tuning in to the Ladies Den tonight. I know some people might say this was a somber topic, but then for me, it was educating myself and my sisters. So thank you guys again for tuning into the Ladies Den. And this is one of the things that the Ladies Den pride on: information. We want to give the community information. We want to educate the community as well as getting educated ourselves at the same time. So we would like for you to go to Facebook and like the Ladies Den page. Go to Instagram and follow us at the Ladies Den 2023. And then please go subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Ladies Den Podcast. We will be talking about more things that we feel the world needs to know and the world needs to hear. So thank you guys, and we will see you next week, next Thursday.
Good night.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank y'all so much.
Lady K, are you ready?
I know she's ready.
Kiki, are you ready? Bayou Diva, let them know that you're ready.
It's Thursday night, they at it again. You got it locked into the Ladies Den. It's Lady K, Kiki too, plus the Bayou Diva. You know how they do. From breaking news to favorite foods. See what's popping in the city, hot topics too. Advice for your issues if you need to grab a tissue. Just wait till a break, they may say something that'll fit you. Amazing guests live on set. You can laugh to your heart's content. They appreciate the love cause it's truly a blessing. My name's Saga Boss and I approve this message.
Ain't no room for hating. Enjoy the entertainment. You are locked in to the Ladies Den. So there's no confusion. They love what they're doing. You are locked in to the Ladies Den.
The Ladies Den, Thursday nights, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tell them Saga sent you.
Bye bye.